Welcome in, everybody. I'm Joey. We're jumping into some A-Class races, one of my favorite classes alongside S-Class for sure. The variety of cars is just awesome, and this one that I've got right here is the Nissan Skyline, tuned by myself, believe it or not, so you know it's completely half-assed. But if you're brave enough to try it, then knock yourself out and give it a download at your own risk. It is available. And what do you say we start this video off by getting railed harder than an adult film star into turn 1? So we'll start this one from the back, I guess, which ironically is also how the adult film stars like it. There is actually one guy that got a worse start than I did, about 5 seconds back in 20th, as we go into Eau Rouge for the first time, trailing a Shelby Cobra, one of the better cars back on Forza Motorsport 7 for A-Class. But the ambitious move there, or what you would probably call shitty driving, took me a little too far over track limits, and I'd end up getting a 2 2/10 worth of penalties for it. Having a quick peek back because I thought I spotted a station wagon, and you always have to keep a second eye out because most of the time they don't have brakes, and that one certainly didn't have them. We've managed to escape modern-day Clark Griswold and get up into 15th, and we'll add one more position on the grid through Malmedy, just squeaking ahead of the Ferrari with a nice move up the inside, running over the grass. Into the carousel, dropping a couple of gears, the Ferrari drifting wide behind us, and that'll solidify 14th place. So the GTR, it's a weird tune. I ended up swapping the drivetrain for rear-wheel drive from all-wheel. That gave me some better specs on the car. I was able to get 5.0 handling, 5.0 acceleration, which I think is pretty rare for A-Class. I didn't see a whole lot of other cars doing that, with mid-range 4 for speed and then a high 4 for braking. Now, the Corvette and the Porsche up ahead are going to get a classic case of Forza glue. They've been battling it out for the past couple of corners, and it unfortunately ended in the Porsche getting spun. It didn't look intentional to me, although that Porsche probably ate shit as soon as it went off frame, so it was a pretty nasty crash, I'm sure, but yeah, probably not intentional. So here we go, back out onto the straight once we come around this right-hander. I get pushed from behind, forced left into the Porsche, then into that green thing, which I have no idea what it is. It looks like a car. But the guy in the green thing that looks like a car clearly misunderstood the situation, because I wish I could have gotten on the mic at this point and said, "You got the wrong fucking guy, pal." Because you got the wrong guy. I didn't do anything. It wasn't me. You got the wrong guy. But you know I'm always looking for the silver linings, and that 360 entrance drift into the corner that was actually 500 feet before the corner was pretty epic and one for the montage. Oh, and I'm 15 seconds behind the leader. So lap 2 comes around, and I've done exactly what all mediocre Forza players do, and I've lost time to the leader and gotten myself another penalty. So that'll be an extra 1.5 seconds we can tack on. So it'll be a grand total of 2.6 seconds now. I have caught up to this jolly group of individuals, though, as the Ford tries to make it up my inside, but ends up just spinning himself. Maybe you've noticed it by now, but honky tonk badonkadonk up there in that green thing, well, he would prefer that my dead body be stuffed in his trunk, and it looks like he's got a pretty big hatch back there, so I'm a little worried what's going to happen here. He goes deep into turn 1, I slip up, and now the question we're all asking becomes, do I get railed before we get to Eau Rouge? A quick peek behind, he's moving over to the racing line, so I'm thinking we might be safe here, and sure enough, we are. Through there just fine, and we're carrying plenty of speed along with all that draft we're going to get from the Porsche. Those Strassen versions don't typically have a very high top speed on those tunes, so on the straight we'll be able to make a nice and easy pass by him here in the GTR on the last lap, and then we'll skip forward to about 3/4 of the way through the lap. I've caught up to a group of 2 guys. So the sit rep is, it's going to be a 4-way battle for the top 10 here at the end. I've gotten myself a 4/10 penalty, not helping my case. I'm just getting penalties all over the place. I'm up to 3 seconds. 2 other guys in this group have penalties, the Corvette and the Strassen version behind. That Porsche up ahead does not have a penalty. We're all going wide. No additional penalty time for me, thank goodness, because I've already got more than everybody. Into the final chicane, they all go deep. There's hope for me yet. I just need to get a clean exit out onto the straight, which I'm not going to get. I'm forced to drift it around the Porsche. The Strassen version won, and now it's an all-out drag race to the line. I need 6/10 on the guy behind. It's only 4/10 across the line, and I think it's going to be a 12th place. So not a great showing. but I am continuing to grow at my new hobby that I picked up this year, which is embarrassing myself on the internet. So I am getting better at that. We'll continue on, shall we, to Indy in the pouring rain at night. And normally I wouldn't like this combination. This scenario sucks. But in the GTR, there's just something about this thing at night in the rain that is so cool. I don't know. I just can't really explain it other than there's just something about this car that works at night in the rain. It looks cool. It's sure as hell not going to be easy, though, as those three guys off in the grass quickly found out a Lancer rejoining the track. But, hey, I think we need to acknowledge that we made it through turn one in these conditions without getting spun out. That is something to celebrate. Into the chicane, side by side with the Eclipse. My back end's going to get loose. I tried not to run into him, or run him off the track, rather. I wind up running myself off the track, and now I'm going to start losing ground to a couple of guys behind a BMW looking up the inside. I'm late on the brakes to fend off that move. A Mustang peeking up our right side. Drifting off the racing line to avoid colliding with the Ferrari. Now into the S's. The Mustang feels like going for a move. I'll get the run on the exit and have the inside for the right-hander. One guy spun out on the right-hander. Another spun out as well. Someone off in the grass up ahead. That Formula Mazda coming back on the track, creating a pretty good collision between the Ferrari, the Lancer, and himself. And now I'm through, grabbing 3 positions just like that up into 8th. Those Formula Mazdas are another car I'm always on the lookout for, along with the station wagons. Somehow, they always find a way to send me flying off the track. It just so happens here I'm benefiting from it. The Porsche getting spun, the other guy off in the grass as we come around the final corner and onto the straight. If we're going by the eye test alone, I'm thinking that car's probably got the acceleration advantage and most likely will be right back on my tail once we get to turn 1. So we'll turn on the jets and break into turn 1. I don't know what I was worried about because all I'm getting is a beautiful synchronized drift into turn 1. It's like the Rockettes, an absolutely beautiful show, but it's actually going to hurt me because they'll cut the corner completely and come out ahead of me. At least the guy in yellow will. The Mustang is going to stay behind. They'll both have to pay the price, though, because the guy ahead got disqualified. He's totally gone, and the Mustang now has a little over 6 seconds. So his race is just about over, and I don't think he realizes that the guy ahead got DQ'd because he just blatantly cut that corner, I think, to catch up to this guy and maybe get a little revenge on him, but he's disqualified. He's out of here. The race continues as normal, although I do kind of wish he wasn't disqualified so I can see one massive hit going into this left-hander, but we did not get it. Even this guy's AI is absolute shit. Like, he can't even drive. I don't think drivatars are a thing anymore, but goddamn, that AI had lost so many brain cells. Anyway, so Lotus off in the grass doing some lawn mowing. Not a good idea to do it in the rain, but if it's got to get done, it's got to get done. It's getting long. With the Indy 500 coming up, got to get this track looking in tip-top shape, so appreciate the Lotus and what he's doing there. Making the grounds crew's job that much easier into the second-to-last corner. The Mustang ghosting out, probably in the pause menu leaving with 6 seconds in penalties. The race isn't going to be all that much fun, so I don't blame him there. We'll get one more free position out of that in the draft of the Lancer ahead, chasing down the Ferrari. And you already know we're about to get another show. A slightly successful pit maneuver from the Lancer into the Ferrari. Got him about halfway spun, but not quite enough to get him all the way off into the grass. One lap later, now the Lancer's going to go for a move on me into turn 1. Looking for that camera sticking out just before the 150 board. The Lancer's up the inside, and he's got the overtake done, knocking me right back off the podium. Then lap 5, it's time for me to return the favor. This time around, I got to show some bigger balls into the braking zone. Last lap, I got absolutely embarrassed. So late on the brakes, hitting that apex nicely. And there you go, back up into third. We've got a last lap battle brewing. The Lancer does have a little over a second in penalties. That'll work to my advantage. But in these rainy conditions, if I make a mistake that would normally cost me a tenth or 2 in dry conditions, in this kind of rain, it's going to cost me a second or 2. Especially when this guy makes an awesome move around the outside on me. We're onto the straight out of the chicane into the draft. The gap holding at about 4/10. The Lancer will flash a good race text, which I will completely ignore because I'm a focused, disrespectful piece of trash. Into the left-hander, a little deep. Not losing too much time, though, with the S's coming up. tiptoeing my way through these corners, making sure not to take too much of the grass, because if you do take a lot of the grass, it'll straighten the car out, and it's a struggle to keep the car on the racing line, making sure not to get on the power too early and turn this thing into a lawnmower like the Lotus did earlier. That grassy section is an absolute death trap. Heading out onto the oval section, spotting the 100 board, braking just before it and praying that the car gets stopped in time. We've got another grassy section that could lose me plenty of time if I get stuck in it. The Lancer almost did, going pretty deep there. That'll force a very narrow line around the penultimate corner, bringing me back up to within half a second. Once again, taking a narrow line around the final corner, and I think that might just give me the run to stay within that penalty timing, and it will. So amongst all the shitty driving that happened that race, we actually had a really fun last lap battle. So that is always good to see. I think I've had my fill of rain races for a while. So the next one, we've got Suzuka, not in the rain. But I didn't catch the start because I was in the bathroom doing my business.
Yeah, I was having a shit.
I know, it's an old, overused meme, but I wanted to use it here because it's funny, poop jokes are funny, and it fit, so I used it anyways. So this race was an absolute honor to be a part of. There's no other way to put it. I was just so glad to be in this lobby. One of those reasons I was so happy to be here, you might notice already, but I won't mention it yet because I didn't realize it until a little later, so we'll get to that. First, we got to talk about this absolute box of rocks who apparently has no idea he was racing with other people. So we went on a sandy beach vacation together and enjoyed absolutely every moment of it. And it was at this point when I looked up to see if I got a penalty that I noticed we've got the 2-minute glitch. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically just a glitch that abruptly ends the race after 2 minutes, no matter what lap or position you're in. And, oh shit. Fuck. Damn. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't. He came across me anyways. Like, that's not even my fault. So 20 seconds left in this one, and it's only 2 minutes, but you spent, what, maybe like 10 minutes practicing before the race, maybe more. So you want to get your money's worth, and I'm going to try to get this 11th place, even though I have 2.25 seconds worth of penalties for something that wasn't even my fault. Totally bullshit penalty. We're going to make it 3 wide here, go for the photo finish, but the Camaro comes across and punts us off into the wall, eating concrete to finish this one off. The perfect way to end the video, I think. The game glitching out and me getting pinned into a wall. Yeah, absolute perfection. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, do all the stuff the YouTubers tell you to do at the ends of videos, and I will talk to you soon. Alrighty, bye everybody.